As we mentioned in the trailer of this course is more like a case study rather than just a technical course. Of course, it includes all the information you need for the technical side. We go step by step, studying every case and providing numbers and reasons why everything's happening the way it happened. But in the same time, we provide more information in the business and the artistic side, or how to deal with the client, first brief and delivery, because this side is not covered with other courses in the market. We noticed that and we got some requests to cover this. That's why we are creating a series of courses at VFXTREME, where we concentrate on studying and providing information about other areas rather than just the technical side. You can skip this chapter, but we really think that it would be useful to understand what is the reason or why we use the certain techniques or certain methods to achieve the results here, because that will never be independent from the project circumstances, which we have to take in consideration always. This project was huge. It was a play in the theater. It's holographic play where we had to create more than 25 minutes of CGI shots in 2 layers, means double job. So as you can see in the picture, the theater here in the middle, and we have the background which we have to fill with sea and some whales or ships or whatever. And we have another screen in front here between the audience and the theater, which is invisible. It looks like it's not there, no one will see it until we project some footage on it, and it will be displayed. So sometimes you have a whale here, or some events, boat or whatever. So the actors in the middle, they are interacting with the near ground and the background. So there is a lot of planning involved in this kind of plays. It's more complicated than a film work. Also, 25 minutes of material is a huge amount of production which we have to deliver in less than 2 months. This kind of work, in this kind of jobs, you have to account for every single detail, from how to communicate with the client, how to build your pipeline, how to present numbers and to organize your files, and also how to choose your tools. At the beginning, we were thinking about which tools we need to account or to consider to do all the water work, and our first choice was Houdini, as we usually do. But then we realized that that will be a hell, especially that we have to do a lot of setup for each case, and we have to build very specific pipeline, and it will be difficult to deal with this kind of work, fast delivery with Houdini. So our next choice was to search for some ready tool, which is good to produce something and enhance it and deliver it and render it with a full pipeline the fastest way possible. And we found Phoenix. Phoenix FD is the tool we choose for this job. But as we mentioned also, we usually create a course and certain technique, and we use different softwares in the same subject. So we create a course using Phoenix FD, but later we create the same scenario using Houdini or RealFlow or Bifrost. So this is the idea of the VFXTREME courses. Now let's go to the business side of things. If I will start with the first stage of how we started doing these shots, we have to account for the client communication. We got the brief from agency, and the agency communicated with us asking us that, can you deliver this kind of job? And we have to deliver it in the shortest time possible, because there is a screening date. We can't be late on that. And based on that, we have a delivery date, and it will be very complicated if we will miss anything or we will do something wrong. This amount of shots is huge, and we had to organize everything to present it to the client so we get approvals, including a breakdown to show the numbers, how much it will cost him to do this kind of work. So if you are used to send a number just very simple number or the regular way of quoting, that may not work well with the client, because you have to present realistic numbers, you have to break down every shot, you have to consider everything and plan it and do sometimes pre-visualization to ease the work for you, because that will define the camera, the timing, and the framing, which are really going to be consuming during the work in later stage. So the first stage to do the work is to communicate with the client, see what they have, and most of the time they don't have the things you require to do the job, such as the storyboarding or the visualization, even the concept art. He will tell you the shot. I want the shot to be like the sea, the Heart of the Sea film. I want the shot to be like this reference. He has some references, some ideas in his mind, but it's our work to extract that and put it on papers, because after all there will be a discussion in every stage and in the delivery, and if we will mess with anything there will be a big problem. So the first stage, I will jump to this. Let's consider that we got the job after we send some questions and we start communicating with the client. So the first thing is to break down the shots and present some cost that will define our chances of getting the job or not. So it should be professional. So what I will present now is a way to do the breakdown and to present numbers for a huge amount of VFX shots or CGI shots, properly broken down into some missions and days, and this is what we will see now. For such work, the first thing you will receive from client is the script, more than a brief, creative brief or something like that. And what I'm talking about is the series or the film, movies, or even the play in the theater, which has long work. And every sentence will mean something, and they need to do some work presenting the scenes which include some CGI or VFX work. It's our mission to take that in consideration and to work on it if the client didn't do the work before he reach us. So as example, we will take here in consideration one shot. We will study that, even we will code for that and bid that. It will be an example of how we will treat all the other shots. It may look complicated, long, or even just impossible to achieve in such time, but this is a must work, and as much as you achieve this, it will be easy for you to do the later work. So what we will do now is to understand the stages. First thing, he will present a script. When we read the script, one of the scenes or the shots, we have a whale. The whale is jumping from under the water in a very specific way, vertically, then it will land near the camera. So these words mean something, but always the client or the director has his own vision, his own references, and he needs things to behave in a certain way. So it doesn't matter if we will understand it as we think it should be, it's always the client who's gonna define the final result. So communicating with the director, we try to approach his vision, we try to draw something and to present it to the client before we do a pre-visualization to define the time. And that was by sketching something like that. This is what we understood from the camera position and the whale jump. It was a cloudy day, the sea level was defined, and also we have the whale jumping, and it will land near the camera. So we draw the sketch, we send it to the client, and we start working on the next stages after he said, yes, this is what I mean, and this is the position of the whale, this is how the camera is looking at it, this is the kind of splash I want, because usually there are a lot of other kind of splashes, some of them are more realistic, but he wanted to be stylized somehow, like this. This is the position for the sun, this is the sea and everything. Next stage, we asked the client to approve the concept art and the colors. So it was like this. We presented in this frame a lot of things which we had to define in the final render. such as the colors, the staging, the sun position, the whale and its topology and how it should look from this frame. And basically we defined a lot of things which we will be wondering about during the work. That was the frame, and as you will see, this scene specifically we have almost the same staging. So this is it. If you will go here, you'll see that we have almost the same staging, the same sense, especially here. And working on that level of details, we know exactly what kind of result the client is expecting. So this is the first stage. The second stage is to send some questions to clients, which we expect him to answer. We call it a clarification stage, which is this form, and basically we have some questions and the client should put some answers here, which gonna define and clarify things for us. As example, the level, how realistic is this scene, and he will say, okay, I want this to be realistic, but I want it to be stylized a little, so it's 90%, something like that. He need the jump to be really special. Also, is it open or closed sea surface? This is for us mainly, and we know that it's open sea. The camera movement style, he will describe it. The whale type, he will say this is the whale type. This is before we draw the sketch, of course. And is there any storyboard, sketch, or concept art? The client says no, so we have to create something to show the client. That will cost him money, of course. In a lot of cases, we will create that, but we will just do it without costing the client, because that will be useful for us also. The colors, he will send an image which shows the colors, and we'll take that in consideration when we create the concept art. Is there any shot or another camera angle taking in the same scene? Yes. So the previous shot, we have to take that in consideration. This is a whale, if I can write. A whale rushing toward the camera, same ocean level. This shot we also studied in this course. The next shot, splash, cash, screen out. When the jump finish, the water gonna fill the screen and we will cash out. Like we will jump to another scene. Compositing, we will just do the rough comp, because in this stage other department will do this and they will account for that, and they will do even the coding for that. They will fill the same bid we will present in just a few minutes. How much length of the shot? 300 frames. Frame per second is 25 frame per second. Delivery resolution is HD, and a delivery format is EXR for the compositing department. Other notes, special attention to scale of the sense of scale. We need the whale to be really big, to look big. So here we break down the shot using this form, which is a bidding form. It's simplified one, but it can be complicated more. But what we want to do is to clarify the process. So in this one, we have certain categories down, and we'll go through them one by one. The first one is the shot breakdown, and in it we mention the shot, and we go through adding some details so we can define the required work, the circumstances, and the numbers. So if I will see, this is the shot which we have the whale jumping. Other shots should be here, but we didn't include them. So the number of the shot, the number of the scene, and here how many frames we have, the sequence name, it's exterior, it's not interior, it's in the ocean, it's a daytime, and some description for the shot. We have that before, which usually we break down the script to come up with this kind of description. Side view, calm sea scene, and the whale jumps high from under the water. Then we have elements, the VFX elements, which is water, splash, foam, mist, and whale. Of course, we will take the whale and put it in another category, which is the assets or the development breakdown, because in the shot breakdown we only include all the elements which gonna move or be animated, like the FX or animation or whatever is like a sequence. But if say something about the assets, all the calculations and the accounting for the assets should be in another breakdown, which we will present in just a few minutes. Now we'll go through everything. We have the client's comments, which we clarified in the questionnaire, and we have them all here. The methodology, we will explain how we do things, and the department who's going to be handling this. The complexity level, we have many coding for this. So we have A+, A++, and B, and based on that, we know the complexity of the scene, and it will be easing for us, or it will ease how we price things, as you will see from the shot category. The item count is 1. The kind of the category of this type, and this is important because if I press here, I have this, and I can go through these. So I have all kind of expected work. So as example, DMB, which is digital matte painting, CG, and effects. For this one, we don't have digital matte painting. It's just a sky background. And we have only CG. We don't have VFX work. And what we mean about that, if we will have some other elements which you have like footage, we will say, no, it needs more work in that side. And we have them all like hard, easy, or medium. Based on that, we have some ready numbers we presented here in the shot category, which if you will choose the shot here, the number is going to be there automatically, and we can change them later, but this will ease for us how to categorize the shots and go through 25 minutes of shots, like maybe more than 500 shots, and just to choose these, and the number is going to be automatically coming here. So this number is coming from the later stage here. As you can see, we have 15 man days. What we mean about man days is that the work require one man to do, and basically it's just a term which defines how much it will cost the client for every day work. And here we unify all the numbers, so we will take for the FX as we will take for the lighting or the tracking or even the roto. But internally, we come up with average number, which gonna be easy for the client to understand. This number doesn't take in consideration the management fees or the discounts or whatever things. The total calculation gonna be coming in the later stage. But for this, it's just easy to define the day and to see this needs 2 days, 1 day, 3 days, and to calculate the sum. So as example, for this shot, we need to present layout, which gonna take 2 days, including the drawing and the concept art. Animation, it will need 2 days to animate the whale jumping to the water, and the light will take 3 days, just taking consideration the material and the shading as well. The FX will take 8 days to accomplish such a shot with all the effects and everything. But when we take that in consideration, again, as I said, when we have a lot of other shots, this number gonna be reduced and this number gonna be reduced because we will use this asset for other scenes. Of course, the asset is calculated in another breakdown, which we will present now. But as example, the FX, the whale gonna be jumping here, but in the previous shot, it will be swimming to this point before it jumps. So basically, we have the same setup, and that will be taken into consideration. We will do the final calculation. So the total number we have here gonna be reduced. But this is, as again, very simple way to present the numbers as we are dealing with every shot, as it's the only shot we are doing or the only job. So the total amount of days is 15, just calculating these together, 8322. We don't have any 2D and half or tracking or roto or other things. And the total number is multiplied by 850 per day. It's 12,750, which is the shot cost. Now, these numbers are in North America and some, or let's say West Europe. And of course, you can just know the numbers or do your research about the numbers in the place you are living in. We have these groups at Facebook, and we present numbers and we give some ideas about the numbers used in certain countries that would be useful if you join these groups. Its name is VFX and CG pricing. But anyway, let's continue. So that's it. We are talking about the US department we have in England and we have in US, as well as we have in the Middle East. But in general, these are the numbers, and the calculation is going to be happening here automatically. If you double press this, you have all the numbers here calculated automatically, because this is like equation. For how to do this kind of form and how to prepare it, we have also a dedicated course will gonna be coming very soon, which basically, if you have a post house, or even if you are working as a freelancer, if you have something like that, that will make your life very easy. Look at this, everything is categorized in a way which you just put for small numbers. If you want to put small numbers here or in the shot category, and you'll get the final number here, and you can just print this after you line all the shots. It will be the best way to break down everything, and it's easy enough to do that in Excel. You can do it with other software, but this is like the easiest. With the shot category, we'll come back to this, and in this I tried to explain it before, but basically we categorize all the shots based on the missions inside. So one of them is like CG, which has a comp and it's easy or medium or hard. Based on that, we estimate the amount of people who can work on it. As example, for the CG easy, we have just 1 to do the layout, we have 2 to do the lighting, and we have 4 to do the compositing. And based on that, we have this amount of people, which is 4 to 1, which is 7 people multiplied by the day, and we will have the price of this one. And we'll increase the work based on how difficult or complicated the shot is. So we will have numbers, and these numbers going to present the total cost for each category. And for our case, as we mentioned before, we have CG FX only, and it's just medium or even between medium and easy. Sometimes it's more complicated, like the shot we did at the big water course at FX PhD. So in that case, we have more cost. But anyway, these categories are general. So just jumping to shot breakdown, all we need to do is to usually fill the things here. Then we come here on this, and you press this and choose the category, and automatically the number is going to change here to reflect the cost of the shot. So that works very good when we have huge amount of shots, but when we have one shot, we can just break it down here. Also, we sometimes need to go through the numbers and change a few numbers, but this basically gonna give us a breakdown in the fastest way possible. Let's go to the development breakdown. For the development breakdown, we have just a little different thing. So in every work, in every job, we have 2 stages, and we have to do it like that. This is my recommendations of how to do it. So you break down the job into 2 sections. One of them is to creating the assets, and the other one is to create the shot itself. So the assets is everything you use inside the shot, and that will be fair for you and for the client. So as example, you have the whale here. You can just for every shot put the cost to build the whale, because you will use it all the way, and you maybe use different whales or different chips or whatever, but you will build it once, you will shade it once, and you will prepare it with rigging, with everything once. But for every shot, you have to animate it, you have to create effects, you have to do things which is related to time. So everything which is not related to time, which is assets, everything related to time, we call it shot. So for this one, for the whale, we name the whale, we describe exactly what we want from it, and we just have the shot and the scene we're going to use it at. And here more just how we will do it, sculpting using mudbox, Lotobo, texture, shading, rigging, and whatever. The division will take care of this. And also we will come up with some cost. This cost is based on these categories. So as example, we need to model things, which is the missions in the assets or the development breakdown. We will need 3 days for the modeling, we need 2 days to rig everything, and we need to texture it in 2 days, detailed texturing. So that will cost us, taking consideration the same average number we have here. We have 4 days, 7 days. 7 days will cost the client this amount of money. and he will pay this just for the whale, which we're going to use in all the other shots. That number for this shot going to be added to the number we got before, 12,750, and we'll get the total cost of this shot. That's simply how to quote or bid for this kind of work. So in the shot breakdown, usually we have like 200, 300, or 400, or even 1,000 shots lined over each other, and we have this section at the end which is gonna give us the total amount of man days and cost, and we have the category which gonna ease the work for us. We also have the development breakdown, which is giving us the assets breakdown. These are the points we have to do before we send to our client the breakdown, and the breakdown should be included with the pricing, let's say, file, which will be also including the terms to do work, like the delivery, like the modifications, and how to communicate with the client, channels, timing, and scheduling. And of course, for such work, you need to consider using one of the production, let's say, software such as Shotgun or F-Track, which I recommend. And using those, you will be able to track every mission, communicate with the client, supervise your employees if you have a lot of employees, or even organize your work if you are a freelancer. So that was just an intro of how we can do this. It will be easy and smooth if you do it that way. We wanted to include this in this course as well as in the Coca-Cola course we produced 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. That one is talking mainly about shot for commercial, TV commercial, which is a little different than how we deal with this, which is more like a film work, but the same principle applies. And I recommend you just go through this, and whatever questions you have in your mind, please just you send us. We are considering doing full courses about this side of work. And for our course, I wanted to mention a few things. In the course, we considered 3 shots, but we added 1 shot at the end because we have requests to do some technical breakdown or a course or a tutorial about how to simulate water coming out from the surface of rising object from under the water, like submarine or a whale. We included that in our course. Also, for each section or each case, we start from scratch to the end, so you may think that we are repeating the information. Actually, we wanted to make every case as separate case, so every one of them is explaining everything around how to do that shot. I hope this is useful, and let's start with our course.